Hello everyone, welcome back to Hero Wars Guide. I've added some new features to the site to handle these point event types, and Hero Wars has released all the information on the milestones and rewards for this event. So I wanted to make this video to take a look at this event and whether it makes sense to do any spending. So let's take a look. Some of the normal features aren't particularly useful and could be enhanced, but I didn't want to let perfect prevent any progress on this, and I think this is far enough along to help make some decisions. So first off, until I revamp this bar chart and the emeralds per requirement, I think you can ignore everything right of the slider. But the information in the summary boxes on this row and the details here on the bottom for what you get out of the event, I believe are working appropriately. The way this event works is that these first 7 tasks just pay out event points, and those event points are worthless themselves other than at certain milestones you can use them to open up chests which contain emerald coins. These emerald coins can be used at the event shop to buy mostly items, and the good ones in the shop come at an emerald value of about 0.32 per emerald coin. So you'll find that's the default that I've set in the preferences for this new resource type. However, you can of course override that to any value you like. And with that in mind, the new feature here for this event is that as you slide any of these tasks to different milestones, the big one here, the one that pays out actual rewards, is going to adjust accordingly. So if I move energy down and change the emeralds, you'll see this get event points task starts to move around as well. So to get into some of the main conclusions that I came to from looking at this, you'll see that if you max this thing out entirely, other than the get VIP, you have 4,900 event points coming. I'm nowhere near this myself, but I've heard that once you hit 4,000, you open the final chest, and at least right now, it does not seem apparent that any additional event points are worth anything. There may be some kind of exchange that happens at the end of the event for anything you have in excess of this, but for now it may be the case that this 930 extra coin just goes away. So unless you're really optimistic about that exchange for extra points coming in at the end, even if you are the highest level of spender, if you were to do every single task in this, there's a massive amount of extra points that may not be worth anything. So I think that makes this kind of a bad event to get any VIP points. If you're the type of player that would possibly gain 4,500 outside of a 4x sale, then you're probably also spending 60,000 emeralds, and you're going to go way over. You can see that you can set that down to nothing, you still finish the event. So then to scale back one tier of spending level, if you're maybe a player who would max out the emeralds on this but not buy anything, you're still going way over what you need for that final reward tier. So in that case, you don't have to worry about some of these nuisance tasks like upgrading a hero skin 100 times. You can turn that off entirely, or maybe knock it down to a more reasonable 10, and you'll still collect all 4,000. In fact, this artifact one is a little bit easier. If you're like me, I don't bother to allocate the gray resources to heroes that I don't really even care about. So I had lots of this on hand and was able to max that out easily. But maybe that's not you, and you're more looking at 25 or something like that. You do have to have a little bit of progress in some of these. You can see if I go too far down in all 4 of them that I will dip below the 4,000, and this will tick down. Okay, but other than that, if you're the type of player who has to take a little bit more care in managing resources, the first thing you should know is that if you don't spend all 60,000 emerald, then you can't get all the way through the event. And then again, you can see at this 30,000 spend level, the highest milestone you actually hit is 2,500, but you end up earning 3,700. So that makes this a pretty large stretch here in like the middle to upper part of spending emeralds shy of the last milestone that it just doesn't make any sense to hit. You can scale back the spending pretty drastically and still get this 2,500 done. Maybe you say you're going to open up a bunch of your bottled energy reserves, and then only hit maybe this 10,000 energy level, or even with the bottled energy, maybe you max the whole thing out. That's fine. But then you can slide down the emerald spending pretty far. So at this point, I've spent a lot of energy, not a ton of emeralds, and with this configuration, I'm spending basically all my emeralds on energy itself. So maybe, it's 7,000 from bottled energy. Spend only 6,000 emeralds, and you still get this second to last chest done in a pretty nice ROI. Now, that is all assuming that you could max every single one of these out. And there's really too many variables here that are going to be specific to your situation. Do you have Heidi all the way to red, or only orange, or maybe not built up at all? How far is the evolution? How much of these skins do you have on hand, etc.? So I think this event, perhaps even more than most, you really might want to spend a little bit of time on the site here. You can configure these according to what you think you're going to accomplish, and then maybe adjust these accordingly without going too far over your last milestone. Alright, so I'll wrap up coming back to high-level summary. Overall, I think this is a decent event for the low end of spender in the game, at least if you do have some amount of this stuff on hand, or some development into Heidi. I suppose I should turn the energy back down to be fair. And then before really you spend anything, you have 16,000 emeralds worth of value. And I think that's something like a third of the max possible event. You can get some pretty good numbers in the returns by adjusting these somewhere in the middle, but this really isn't the best event for going 100% all in on. A grand total return of 53% is going to be quite a bit lower than most of the great events out there. Alright, so hope this helped, and if you have a little bit of time on your own, I'd encourage you to come in here and adjust these according to your specific situations. Alright, talk to you again soon.